Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. And in today's episode, we're asking the question, are you ready to die? What a great way to start the morning, right? Well, it's prompted by a really thought-provoking article that was in The Atlantic this week, written by Arthur Brooks, who is himself a confessing Catholic, so approaching the concept of death from his faith. But one of the things he talked about is it's very common in human culture, in literature and movies and different kinds of art, to wrestle with death. Death for us prompts feelings of fear and frailty and even paranoia. But that might not be the most necessary or most helpful way of thinking about death, at least according to Brooks. He juxtaposes our natural fear of death with the actual experience of those who are dying. Studies show that people in hospice care, people who know they're terminal, people who know that death is just days or even moments away, actually say that their positivity increases, that actually they get happier. There's something freeing about knowing you're going to die, something clarifying, something that makes you maximize every minute, declutter your life, separate things into the bucket of what matters and the bucket of what doesn't matter. Brooks' argument in the article is that this philosophy that becomes so clear to us days before our death actually is the one we should carry with us all the time. He points to the fact that different worldviews have ways of cultivating this feeling of frailty, this awareness that I'm going to die. He talks about how the gateway to positivity might just be embracing the inevitability of your death. Instead of relegating it to the list of things you don't think about, actually make it front and center. I guess I found the article so interesting because it connects so readily to what Jesus teaches throughout the scripture. For example, in James 4, James tells us that we are nothing but mist. We're a vapor, here today and gone tomorrow. He's calling us not just to an awareness of our own mortality, but a dependence on God. God is permanent. God's kingdom is permanent. It's the constant moving through human history as one generation passes the baton to another. You and I, we are the characters who come in and out of the story that God is writing. That should make us dependent on Him. It's also true that mindfulness over our own limited amount of time actually spurs us to faithfulness. In Ephesians 5, Paul tells us that we should make the most of our time because the days are evil. He's calling us to live out our faith in a way that says, I have today, I don't know if I have tomorrow. So what does it look like to pursue God? The psalmist will say in Psalm 90, teach me to number my days, right? He's saying to God, cultivate in me an awareness of my own death. Now, this might sound somber. You think, well, how is thinking about death going to lead to spiritual growth? How is it going to lead to anything other than negativity and being somber? Well, that makes sense in the old paradigm of death. But of course, the gospel, the whole epicenter of what we believe about Jesus, is that He has conquered death. As Paul writes about in 1 Corinthians 15, Jesus shows us that death is not final. Death has been defeated. It is simply the gateway to eternity. So I'm not moments away from my life being over and the screen going black. I'm not moments away from nothingness or meaninglessness or purposelessness. I'm moments away from an eternity with God, where His kingdom is forever, and my participation in that kingdom is secure. Listen, the truth is we live in a culture that is calling us to be distracted, to be entertained, to take our eyes off of the fact that we are going to die. And as a result, our priorities are all out of whack. So here's a fun exercise, at least in response to the Brooks article. If you knew this week was your last, if you knew 2025 was your last? What would matter most? Listen, your answer to that question is a shifting of your priorities, a shifting of your paradigm in the direction that God has always wanted you to move. Grab a hold of God in faith today, not just because he'll make today better, but because his hand is the hand you'll be holding as you cross over into death. Are you ready to die? Being ready, answering yes, might just be the key to your spiritual growth in 2025. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Wake Up, Look Up. While you're here, take a minute to like and subscribe. It really helps us get the word out. Don't hesitate to leave a review wherever you might find this podcast on an audio level and help spread the word. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content we have at Christ Community Chapel on YouTube. Some of those videos are popping up on the screen now. Click on one.